don't we go ahead and call the meeting of a special meeting of the Las Virgenes-Malibu Council of Governments Governing Board meeting to order Friday, June 26th at 1:03 p.m. And Terry, if you could call the roll, please.
Marianne Riggins,
Here.
Aniko Gold, Penny Sylvester,
Here.
Alicia Weintraub,
Here.
President Pearl. We have a quorum.
Here. We do have a quorum. The next item is approval of the agenda. Can I get a motion and a second, please?
Penny Sylvester so moves.
Second.
Right. Oh, good.
Moved by Penny, seconded by Alicia. Roll call, please, Terry.
Marianne Riggins,
Yes.
Penny Sylvester,
Yes.
Alicia Weintraub,
Yes.
President Pearl.
Yes. Agenda is approved 4-0. Are there any public comments that you've received, Terry?
I have not received any.
Okay, we have one action item that follows up from our regular governing board meeting a couple of weeks ago, and that is to approve the budget. We set up an ad hoc committee that Aniko and Mary Ann served on, along with Nate and his team from the city of Agoura Hills that oversees our finances. That report is included in your agenda, but Terry, if you could go ahead and give a verbal report for the benefit of the board.
Yes, I'd be happy to. The issues that were raised with regard to the budget were addressed during that meeting. And the homeless grant funds initially appeared inconsistent. We verified all of that, revised the numbers slightly in order to make that budget balance. And with regard specifically to the 4 beds that were included, we corrected that, or I corrected that amount in the budget. We also addressed the 4% administration fee that the COG receives in managing Vivian Riscalvo's contract with Metro. And it was determined that those funds were not restricted funds, as previously mentioned in the board meeting. And then we had further explanation with regard to the ongoing 0.5% that the COG receives from Metro for planning and administration of Measure M projects that I'm working on with the cities and as the COG executive director. So that was clarified that money, there's no sunset with Measure M. And so that funding will continue into the future. And then Nate addressed the audit issue, and his finance director, Diego, provided relevant information to the COG with regard to the audit, and that there were no special findings in the audit as the way the audit, anyway, I'm not an audit person, but there were no special findings that were called out, and the custodian account that the city has for the COG was in order. And so there were no additional questions about that. I did send out a 174-page audit. I did provide that to Aniko, and I believe that Mary Ann, she forwarded it to you. If anybody else on the COG board wants a copy of that, I will send it to them. Just let me know. And then let's see. The last item, there was a question with regard to why the amount was dropped from 95,000 to 90,000 in the budget, and I explained that again to the committee with regard to that was merely an estimate that's included, and then it's adjusted based upon the amount of time that I spend, and that covered all of the issues that were raised at the meeting, and the committee seemed to be satisfied and recommended that the COG approve the budget.
So before I open it up for any questions, Mary Ann, as the other member of that ad hoc committee, was there anything that you wanted to add from the meeting that Terry referenced?
No, I think everything was updated. Explanations were provided for the questions, and the corrections were made to the budget that's being presented to us today, where there had been some mathematical discrepancies. So I think everything's in order, and the information's been provided.
Perfect. Thank you, Terry and Mary Ann. And with that, I want to just open it up to any questions from anyone, a board member or city manager. Anybody have any comments at all?
No, I'm happy with the conclusions that the ad hoc committee came to. And I'd like to thank you, Marianne, for stepping up.
And Penny, if you could also thank Nate and Diego, I appreciate them spending some extra time on this as well, because they had to go in detail on something that they probably had to dust off some of their memories on the finances, but do appreciate their participation and some of the oversight they're able to provide.
I will let them know. Thank you.
Please, thank you. I also just want to note, as we entertain a motion for this, one of the key components of this budget, just so that the minutes reflect, it does include in here a cell phone stipend for our executive director, as well as a 5% raise. I just want to make sure that that is on the record and in the minutes as part of the motion that I will now call for if there's no further discussion.
I will mention one thing. I do think that we need to, and I spoke with Terry about this, but it's something that I think the board members, we should be discussing compensation, how the executive director compensation is done, just for future, just establishing, as we transition, whether we want to stay with the same model, where we want to look at different things. So it's more of a general thing. It has nothing to do with Terry in particular as an executive director, but just how the COG wants to operate in compensation for the executive director, what things are included, any stipends for cell phones, or if a vehicle allowance or something like that. So I think we should have a discussion item sometime during the year to see where the board is at, and just kind of be doing some pre-planning, because we will have to look at inflation items and other things for compensation. So I think it would be good for us to just have a good general conversation about those things going forward.
So, Marianne, I couldn't agree more. I think one of the things as we look back on this process, there are things that we've all learned that we can do better for the future on the process for putting the budget out, making sure that it is reviewed by folks beforehand. I think we've just got some lessons learned, and I think you're absolutely right. General comments on how we want to look at compensation. I think we're a new group of 5, and we ought to just take a deeper dive as we look towards the future. I couldn't agree more, and I think that's an item that we should absolutely take under consideration as we head into your term as our president. I think that makes all the sense. Happy to do it this year,
Kind of an
Marianne.
assumption that I'm gonna get,
And by the way, happy to do it this year to hand it off in a nice, neat package for you next year.
Yeah, I mean, like Terry as a contract versus having an executive director compensated in another way. So more, part of it's informational, part of it is also just as a board, how we want the COG to handle compensation for any employees or contracts that we might have for staff. And, I'd be looking to the city managers, obviously, to kind of help flesh out some of those decisions. Because what I learned from this is that, yes, Terry is a contract executive director, but other COGs have different ways. There's issues with PERS. There's just a lot of different things. And so as much as we all love Terry and everything, we know that at some point he is going to retire, and this is something that ACOG, a board, is going to have to deal with, and just maybe providing them some detailed information about history might help them make those decisions when that time comes to start recruiting for a new executive director.
Sounds like you and I had similar conversations with Terry. Couldn't agree more. But if at this point, if there aren't any further questions or discussion, would entertain a motion to approve our budget.
I will make a motion to approve the budget with the recommendation of the 5% increase for the executive director and the $100 a month stipend for cell phone.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
So motion by Mary Ann Riggins and second by Alicia Weintraub. Terry, if you could please call the roll.
Yes. Mary Ann Riggins,
Yes.
Penny Sylvester,
Yes.
Alicia Weintraub,
Yes.
President Pearl.
Yes, our budget and your raise is approved, Terry, on a 4-0 vote. Future meetings, I just wanted to thank all of you for adjusting. Ironically, we went to being dark in August because of Westlake Village's schedule, where we're dark in August and not July. And then my schedule got messed up. And I appreciate everybody for going dark in July now that this budget is done. I think that fits better with most other councils' calendars anyway. So we will have no governing board meeting in July, and we'll be back together again on Tuesday, August 18th at 8:30 in the morning via Zoom. And the TAC meeting is to be determined. Any other comments before we adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Very good. Thank you, everyone. Our meeting is adjourned.
Have a great 4th of July,
Bye.
everybody.
Bye.
Thanks,
Thank
Summer.
you.